Get your fucking ass up and work.
We've all heard the saying no one wants to work anymore recently, but I remember people saying that all the time whenever I was a kid. I can't believe the bad luck I have had in trying to find someone to do some needed home improvements. It almost seems like nobody wants to work anymore, and when they do, they take no pride in what they do. How does one find a dependable worker? Farming is my hobby now, but these rocks, I hired 2 boys to clear the rocks off of this land last week, but they just fooled around. They didn't want to work. Nobody wants to work anymore. Well, as far as I can find out, the reason for the food scarcity is that nobody wants to work as hard as they used to. This has been something that people have said for years and years and years, and if you need more proof, here's some examples. Here's one from 1999. Nobody wants to work anymore. They all want to work in front of a computer and make lots of money. And here we have one from 1969 that talks about a program where they talk about how no one wants to work anymore. Then here's one from 1952. I heard somebody say the other day that everybody was getting too darned lazy and nobody wants to work anymore. That's the truth if I ever heard it. Here's one from the 1940s. After mentioning the reduction of the $85,000 a year laundry bill from the Wisconsin General Hospital by having the laundry done by Waupun prisoners, Governor Heal said that he wanted to lower taxes. Quote, "But the trouble is everybody is on relief or pension. Nobody wants to work anymore." Faced with a shortage of labor when unemployment is widespread, peach orchardists in York and Adams counties are complaining that nobody wants to work anymore. There is work, it is reported, for 15 to 25 peach pickers in every orchard in the 2 counties, but only 2 of 5 pickers are at work because of the unavailability of labor. Nobody, it seems, wants to work at peach or apple picking and packing, an Adams Fruit County grower declared. Here's one from 1922. What is the cause of unemployment and hard times? The manufacturer and businessmen say it is because nobody wants to work anymore unless they can be paid enough wages to work half of the time and loaf half of the time. Here's a snippet of an article from 1905. Labor is scarce, high, and very unreliable. None want to work for wages. Now, this is an article from 1894. With all the mines in the country shut down by strikers, what will the poor editor do for coal next winter? It is becoming apparent that nobody wants to work these hard times. And that's not the end of everything that I got to back this up. This is an article, no one wants to work anymore, not for you at least. The human history of work can be summed up very roughly in 3 big chapters, from hunting and gathering through early farming, when humans worked basically just as much as they needed to survive. Anthropologists estimate that was way less than 40 hours. Then skip to the Industrial Revolution. Factories spring up with machines whirring from dusk until dawn. Often 6 days a week, 70 or more working hours would have been common, at least in the early 1800s in the US. We call this the second chapter, peak work. And the response from workers anyway was the labor movement, protests, strikes, lobbying employers, and the government for shorter workdays, among many other demands. So for those of you that don't understand, back way back in history, whenever most civilizations survived through hunting, gathering, and farming, humans used to work way less than 40 hours. At most, it was around 15 to 20 hours a week. We are not creatures that are built to work all the time. It's not that people don't want to work, but rather it's that after an earth-shattering 16 months that people have seen hundreds of thousands of our family members, friends, and neighbors die at the hands of an implacable and indiscriminate foe, there's just a genuine question of whether grinding it out for 40 hours a week at a job with substandard pay, low benefits, and little work-home balance is really worth it. Increasingly, the answer is no. According to the World Health Organization, burnout is a syndrome resulting from workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It's characterized by 3 dimensions: feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, or feelings of negativism or cynicism related to one's job, or reduced professional efficiency. As in 2020, American workers across the board saw heightened rates of burnout in 2021. According to APA's 2021 Work and Well-Being Survey of 1,501 U.S. adults, 79 employees had experienced work-related stress in the month before the survey. Nearly 3 in 5 employees reported negative impacts of work-related stress, including lack of interest, motivation, or energy. The lack of effort at work, meanwhile, 36% reported cognitive wariness, 32% reported emotional exhaustion, and an astounding 44% reported physical fatigue, a 38% increase since 2019. So now let's take a look at a few more reasons why no one wants to work anymore. Here is someone with a degree in biomedical sciences who is looking for a job on Indeed.com, and the response he got is from someone at a bar and grill looking for him to fill a position. This is not what people with degrees like that are looking for. Let me just make that abundantly clear. These people are looking for jobs with a salary that pays well more than $60,000 or $80,000 a year. Here's another one where someone with a preferred master's degree will only get paid $15.29 per hour. Let me make this abundantly clear. If you're looking for someone with a master's degree, they are not going to work for $15.29 per hour. Let me make that abundantly clear. You are way too low in the market for that. Then we have another one where the minimum wage should not be that low at $11 an hour. It should not be that low even if you are just working a cash register. This last one is just one of those things that I was looking at and it struck me because this is one of those things that especially people overseas don't understand. This is tipping culture in America. This is obviously a job for a waiter or waitress because you're only getting paid $2.13 per hour. So you make most of your money through tips. And if you work in a great area, you might actually be able to make a lot of money through tips. But for most people, a lot of people who are working off of tips, just like most Americans, are just barely scraping by. Once again, tip culture is bad and the minimum wage needs to be raised to over $20 an hour. And I will get a lot of shit for saying something like that. There's an article that I found where the title of the article actually tells everything that you need to know. Idle rich baffled by poor people's distaste for dangerous, low-paying job. Right there, that encapsulates everything. I do have another quote there. The truth behind no one wants to work anymore. It's not that people don't want to work. People don't want to work for abysmal wages that don't provide them enough to live. They don't want to work jobs that destroy their bodies or social lives. Younger generations want work that works for them. They crave meaning in their work but will put aside for a high enough paycheck. They refuse to work menial jobs that don't pay a living wage. Now, this is not an easy solution, but one of the first suggestions that I have is to raise the minimum wage and to cut back on the mandatory work hours that people are expected to work every week. By doing those two things, we've created a much better work-life balance for the employees, and we've created a much stronger middle class that can help pump money back into the economy and hopefully help turn around the economy. But most of you are too afraid to take that chance, so we're probably going to keep sitting here in the same thing that we've been doing for 100 years, constantly saying no one wants to work, even though we know plenty of people are willing to work as long as you give them a big enough paycheck. The problem is you're not willing to give them a big enough paycheck for them to work.